You joining us late this evening. Cedric Phillips, AJ Soccer.
Yo.
We have made it to Baltimore. Saturday's almost over. At SCG Live, hashtag SCGBALT for your tweets at the final round this evening. Of course, stay with us because after this game, we'll be asking a question to give away our 3 months of premium, as we always do. So there will be a premium giveaway. AJ, don't be nervous. I've got the question ready.
Okay,
I know that you, yep, I'm not even going to say it, but I knew that you weren't ready.
I'm not good at the questions. I'm sorry.
Our quarterfinal is underway. Richard Nguyen, of course, going to be on the play because he is the higher seed. He's going to start with a Temple Garden into an Experiment 1. Your move, Mr. Nelson.
Richard Nguyen, very up-and-coming player. I mean, he's been around for a while, but he put up a bunch of really awesome finishes lately. I think he has 2 open top 8s and a GP top 8.
Sure.
A top 8 in the biggest GP of all time.
Oh, I didn't know he top 8 at Charlotte.
Yep.
Wow, very cool. That's no easy thing to do. As you see, Nelson plays a Godless Shrine untapped. He's representing Tragic Slip here. You're going to see Nguyen play Temple Garden untapped. He's going to cast a String Root, guys. I think we're going to see a Tragic Slip in a minute here on that Experiment 1. Yeah.
You must be a scientist.
I am actually a genius. That's what I am.
Is that the word?
Yes. String Root.
That's what we're going with.
String Root guy's going to come across, going to knock Nelson down to 16. So even a ball game right now. Brad going to play an Overrun Tomb tapped. Here comes a Doom Traveler, and he's going to pass the turn back, trying to get that engine online, while Nguyen's deck, again, is a deck full of very efficient threats that just wants to get Brad dead as fast as humanly possible. You see Nguyen's going to draw his card. It's another copy of String Root, guys. He's going to draw his card pretty slowly like that because he does have 2 copies of Bonfire of the Damned in his deck.
Yeah, this matchup is going to come down a lot to the board presence for the given players. Like, the life totals may seem indicative of, you know, a player being ahead, but we've seen the Junk Aristocrats deck go all the way down to, you know, 3, 2, 1 life and pull back out with Blood Artist triggers, and that is definitely something that this deck is quite good at, is sort of playing on the brink of defeat.
Mm-hmm. You see a trade in combat there. Spirit Token's going to come back. String Root Geist is going to have itself get an Undying counter. Give me a 3-2. Nguyen's going to play Loxodon Smiter post-combat. So he's got a 3-2 and a 4-4 against Nelson's 1-1. A situation I'm sure Brad has seen himself in quite a few times, as his deck is just trying to get his engine online and be able to create some large threats, gum up the board, and be able to, you know, kind of chump block and do its thing against these Smiters and these String Root guys.
His deck's practically designed to do that. He's just like, all right, I have a 1-1 against the 4-4. Yes,
yeah,
like, right where I want him.
Just got to use that life total. Got to stay alive. Now Doom Traveler, or excuse me, the Spirit Token. Spirit Token thinking about coming in. As you see Varl's on the screen, that's what Brad cast his turn. He is going to pass the turn back here. So maybe we see like a double block or something of that nature. As Nguyen is going to untap, he's going to draw. You see a Searing Spear in his hand right now. Let's see what he runs into. Stomping Ground, the draw for the turn. And one of the cards, again, that we brought up that Nguyen has in his deck that Aaron Barrich didn't have last week is Bonfire of the Damned. He has 2 in his main, 2 in his sideboard, a card that's fantastic against Junk Reanimator, and incidentally also ends up being pretty gosh darn good against Nelson's deck as well.
Yeah, it is awesome against the Lingering Souls deck. Being able to, even non-miracled, take out a substantial part of Brad Nelson's creature base. And that the flip side of that is the Viral's like regeneration plus, you know, pump all my guys out of Bonfire range. That's sort of like Brad's answer, if you will, to the threat of Bonfire.
Yeah, the question is, does he have the time to actually be able to do all those things with Varl's and pump his guys enough, because he's constantly under pressure here from Nguyen's efficient threats. You see String Root guys coming into play yet again. 2-1 Haster. Yes, he can trade his Spirit Token with that, or maybe block and regenerate and all that stuff, but they only get bigger. They don't stop coming back. That's kind of the issue here for Nelson, is that these threats are efficient, but they're also just pretty difficult to deal with.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, all these creatures are really good and really resilient. The attack in here now, Brad actually has a fairly good block in putting the Spirit on the Elephant and the Maze Runner on the 3-2 Strangleroot Geist, and then regenerating, which, you know, looks good on paper, but we know that Richard Nguyen has a Searing Spear ready to go and take out the 2-2 before it gets to get the regeneration shield up, meaning that the 3-2 will survive. Brad will take 2 damage. All of Richard Nguyen's creatures will be fine.
He's actually got a Gorkline Rampager too.
That's another way to play it.
Yeah. So this makes things even more difficult, because now he's going to trample over 8, 9, 10 damage total. So yes, Brad's going to be able to take care of that 3/2 Strangler Geist, but at the expense of 10 damage and a Searing Spear left over in Nguyen's hand. So Brad's in some trouble here.
Well, this is the mistake that I was saying the other aggro players were making against the Junk Aristocrats deck, is they were trying to play it card parity rather than just trying to be the beatdown, get the opponent dead as soon as possible. And Richard Nguyen is not making that mistake here, using his Gorkland Rampager as 8 damage burn spell rather than trying to get the barrels off the board.
No, it's interesting. You saw that Gorkland Rampager, have its effect on this game, but the play that you brought up of the Searing Spear in response to the regeneration makes it so that Nguyen doesn't lose anything. You have that 3/2 Strangler Geist, the 2/1, and the 4/4 Smiter, and actually still have Rampager in his hand. That would leave Nelson creatureless. He would play a Doom Traveler, and that would be a Doom Traveler against those 3 guys. It's potential.
With the Rampager.
Yeah, with the Rampager in hand, it's arguable that the Searing Spear play is actually much better on that previous turn, because now that Varels is kind of in the way, and the thing that's important here, AJ, is that Nelson has not 1, but it looks like 2 copies of Tragic Slip in his hand, and the ability to Morbid it now.
That is huge. And Richard Nguyen, we know he has a Searing Spear, so basically this game is going to come down to whether he can find another piece of burn to finish Brad off before Brad finds either a Blood Artist to turn the table, or just get some clock on with the scavenge from Varels and try and race back.
So Nguyen's going to let that regeneration resolve. You're not going to see him cast Searing Spear on the Varels. So now Brad looks like he may be going to stabilize here.
Yeah, that Searing Spear it's got Brad's name on it.
Yeah, that's not going anywhere but upstairs, it looks like, my friends. So now you see Nelson with his 2 slips in his hand thinking, all right, let's take out that Smiter, get that out of my way.
Dead Elephant.
I thought he may use the other one here on the end step. We're going to see. He decides he doesn't want to.
Aren't elephants endangered?
Yeah, there's one less of them right now.
Damn ivory poachers.
So now Nelson has a Gabney Township. Looks like he drew another land. I think he does have another Tragic Slip in his hand. So, again, Nelson knows that Nguyen has 1 card in his hand. Not entirely sure what it is, but we know that now it's not a Gorkland Rampager. So I think you can deduce that it's either a burn spell or a land. So, was he supposed to fire off that Tragic Slip, have an empty board, and then start scavenging and just try to get this game over with? Who knows? But we see the situation that Brad's in right now, where he still has to play a little bit more defensive than maybe he wants to.
Yeah, which, Richard's fine with Brad at a theoretical 3. He's fine with Brad playing a little defensively, because all he needs to do is find another piece of burn and finish him off.
So you see Brad's going to scavenge onto his Varels. There goes the Doom Traveler. +1/+1 counter. Going to make it a 3/3. Nelson going to play that Overgrown Tomb tapped. And the other thing you have to keep in mind here too, AJ, is that Nguyen is at 12 life. His first 4 lands going to play untapped, and they were all dual lands. So as a result, Brad can actually just try to get this game over with very quickly
Yeah.
and cut the number of draws that Nguyen has. Because if Brad is assuming what we know, which is Nguyen is trying to burn him out, then you just want to cut the game down as fast as you can.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Nguyen draws his card. This looks like a land.
I don't think Brad missed that.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Brad knows that's a land.
Yep, so there's your Temple Garden. He's going to pass the turn back. Again, if you're Nelson, this has to feel fantastic.
Yeah, but you have to start clocking him. You got to get the pressure on.
And, Burn isn't the only thing that's a really good draw here for when, he does have 2 Bonfire Lamps, he does have 2 Boros Charms, and 3 more Searing Spears, total of 4, so that's 7 draws. But even like a card like Advent of the Worm, he does have a Tragic Slip on his hand, does Nelson, but, it forces his hand on that, makes him sacrifice that Spirit Token to be able to kill an Advent of the Worm. So, back to Voice of Resurgence is a nice draw here. There's definitely some good draws, and you see him going to finally begin to attack. We're going to see a Township activation, going to make that Spirit into a 2/2, and Varels into a 4/4.
Brad, very careful to wait until he has 6 mana to activate his Township, so that he still has access to that Tragic Slip. Playing around another Rampager, threatening to kill him, and we're just as Richard Nguyen is just waiting for a burn spell, hoping for a burn spell, because he's actually dead in a couple turns.
Yeah. Nelson needs to again get this game over with as fast as he can, as Nguyen draws a Strangleroot Geist for the turn, his 3rd one of the game. You see him reaching for mana. We know it's on a land this time.
Even if you attack and Brad doesn't have the slip and you get through, you're still only getting through for 2. The spear dropping into a theoretical 1, you're still short.
I still think this attack is okay. just to try to push through some damage here. Force his hand on maybe using Tragic Slip if Nelson does decide to use it. Now, I'm still perfectly fine with the attack.
Yeah, it is a bit aggressive, but it's possible that he has to make such moves to maximize his chance of winning the game.
And you see him contemplating what he wants to do on this attack. Is it worth it? You know, do I send in just the one Strangleroot?
I actually like that a lot.
Yeah, just the 2/1?
Yeah. And
Makes
what's Brad going to do? Not block?
Yeah.
And then you have a theoretical lethal attacker the next turn. Or 2 theoretical lethal attackers the next turn. Oh, he does send both.
He's going to send them both in. Brad, of course.
This is an auto block.
Yeah,
There's no choice in the matter.
Yep.
And he is going to use the slip. Takes down the Strangleroot Geist. Comes right back, but doesn't get to deal damage. And the other Strangleroot Geist gets eaten in combat.
So we're basically in the same position we were at the last turn.
But Brad is down a Tragic Slip.
Yes.
Whereas Richard Nguyen is only down, his Strangleroot Geist.
So Nelson draws a card. It's another land. His hand right now is 2 lands. We look at Varl's. It's a 2, 3, 4, 4. This token is a 2, so that's 6 damage. Township would represent 2 more. That would be 8. And then he has a Doom Travel in the grave. He can scavenge. That would make it 9. But I'm not a math scientist, is what to say. 9 is not 10. So that means the Nguyen is going to get at least 1 more turn in this game.
Yeah. He can't even force the chump, so now he has to stay on defense and is actually dead to a Rampager now that he doesn't have his Tragic Slip anymore, because Rampager up to 7, 4. Oh, no, with the Township activation up to 5 toughness. Yeah, he actually survives at 1.
He lives through Rampager activation?
Yeah, because of the Township plus.
Yeah, because he slipped a guy.
Yep.
That's why he didn't go to 4. So it's a, I mean, does that include the Searing Spear too, though?
Yeah.
That one has in his hand?
1, 2, 3, 4, plus the Township is 5. And the Strangleroot Geist is attacking for 3 plus 4 is 7. 2 tramples over, down to 4, and Spear knocked into a theoretical 1.
So he's closed that door, at least momentarily.
Yep.
So you take a look at Nguyen's deck list of what he can do to get out of this. Again, Bonfire of the Damned at any point is going to be a nightmare for Nelson.
I mean, he's just drawing to 7 outs?
Yeah, I think he's just drawing a 7 right now. I mean, I'm trying to figure out if any of the creatures are great right now. Again, maybe the 4 Strangleroot Geist isn't so bad. Maybe Advent of the Worm isn't the worst draw either.
Yeah, there were definitely a couple turns where a lot of those cards would have been good. Even Boros Reckoner points would have been really good, but I think we're past that point. I think we're straight up at 7 outs. It's...
Now Nelson getting super aggressive here, because now he's putting him on a 2-turn. That's what this attack
He's putting him
represents.
straight up on a 2-turn, but he is now dead to Orkman Rampage.
Yes.
So increasing the outs from 7 to
7 minus 4. 7 minus 4 is 3. Yep. So now he's actually, now he's increased his outs too, because he has 3 Rampages left. Yes, now he's on a quote unquote 10 outer.
Which, with about 40 cards left in the deck, so he's about a quarter to win.
So you see a Scavenger. I think they're still seeing if the Scavenge does resolve or not. I think that's what your momentary holdup is.
Yeah, I mean, his card is Searing Spear, and it is 3 damage with the Strangleroot Geist attack. I don't think he has any hasters that deal 3 or more, so it doesn't actually matter.
And so the Scavenge is going to resolve. Spirit is going to become a 4/4. A 1/1 3 +1/+1 counters on it. Nguyen going to untap. He's going to draw.
The peel. That looks like a miss. He wouldn't slow roll, I don't think.
Yeah. You see how he was thinking a really long time about spiriting that token, and the reason you see him think about that is because now it's a 4/4. But now, most importantly, is like, Nguyen can't make an attack that's going to win him the game now, assuming that he missed. Depending on what he drew. Like, if it's a creature to chump block with, that's a different story. But now that Spirit token can become a 5/5 next turn because of the Township, so it's either 5 in the air or 6 on the ground. And
right. So it's possible he should have speared there, since if he draws a burn spell, attacking is a free roll. He's free rolling the spear damage there to draw to a burn spell, but now he can't chump block, right? If he had drawn like a Voice of Resurgence, that's 2 chumps.
Yep.
If that spirit was dead, and he's he's drawing to runner burn spell or whatever after that, it is a runner, but that's a percentage. That's a couple percentage.
I mean, that's better than being dead.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and you see Nelson here, he's going to untap, he's going to think for a little bit, but I can't imagine a world in which Brad doesn't, do exactly this, which is both sideways. I have a Township activation, and if you have to point any of your burn some other direction, I can't lose. Yep. So here's your activation. Here's
how sick would a slow roll be? It's just like, spear.
And so Nelson plays that game incredibly well, and it's going to be up a game here over Richard Nguyen. Junk Aristocrats up 1 over Niagara. We're going to cut it back to the booth for you guys really quick because it's trivia time, my friend. And I know you're nervous. I'll give you the one tomorrow. Tomorrow in the semis, you can ask one. But trivia time, if you guys have never played with us before, very simply, I'm going to ask you guys a question. We're going to wait 3 months of premium after this round is over. So I'll ask you guys a question. We ask you to hashtag your answer on Twitter with the hashtag of SCG Premium. I don't know what that is. And we will select one of the people who do get the answer correct. Again, it is not about speed, it is about accuracy. And we will be giving it away at the end of the entire quarterfinal round. The question is, in Richard Nguyen's deck, he has a 2 of in his spells that if he had drawn that game would have been pretty good, and some would say it's a miracle when you do draw it. And it was not in Aaron Barrich's deck list, but it is in Richard Nguyen. So if you're able to name that 2 of, that's pretty much the only card that's different from Aaron Barrich's deck from last week in Dallas. Some would say it's a miracle when you do draw it. Hashtag your answer, hashtag SCG Premium, and again, we will give it away at the end of our quarterfinal round.
Is it Temporal Mastery?
It could be. It very well could be. And if he could cast that in his deck, that would be special. That would be very exciting. As we're going to take a look at the sideboards here, you see both players with the deck list taking a look at each other's sideboards. We are going to do the same. Richard Nguyen going to be on the play. We see 3 copies of Volcanic Strength. Not much use here. No mountains to walk over.
I mean, you say that.
Yeah. 2 copies of Unflinching Courage. That one's kind of interesting. We're gonna come back to that one in just a moment. 2 Mizium Mortars, 2 Skullcrack, 2 Rave Revelation, 2 Boros Charm, 2 Bonfire of the Damned. Unflinching Courage is kind of an interesting one to me because I think Mortars is going to come in just because the Overload is like a realistic thing.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of just ruins Brad. I think the Bonfires are going to come in as well. But Unflinching Courage is this interesting card where he can really just run roughshod over Brad because his guys are so good and force Brad to basically have a Tragic Slip. But you see in Nelson's sideboard that he does have those 2 copies of Abrupt Decay to draw too.
Yeah, if he didn't have those decays, it's possible that you could tax his Tragic Slips. But once he goes up to 6 of that effect, I don't think that's a viable option anymore.
Sure.
I would definitely say the Bonfire is like one of the better cards in the whole format against Brad's deck. So definitely those are coming in. And then Boros Charm is completely fine and legitimate as well. The Mizium Mortars is definitely coming in, not only because the Overload is a real thing, but just taking out a turn 2 Skrizzak High Priest before it makes a thing.
Yeah, that's real enough.
Yeah, that's pretty important because none of Richard Nguyen's removal really deals with a 5/5 flyer too well. So that is definitely a legitimate concern for him. On the other side, we have Bradley Nelson, a.k.a. Bard Narson. He's got some Garrick's and Unflinching Courages that he could bring in. But I don't think that they're necessarily the best thing that he can be doing. Abrupt Decays are definitely coming in. Death Rates, although Brad does like them more in more matchups than I would have thought, I can't imagine that this is one of them. But the card that was, and he has an Appetite, which obviously that's not coming in, but a really interesting one is Sin Collector. Now, Sin Collector, you wouldn't think of a card that you would want against like an aggressive strategy, right? Mm-hmm. But we saw when Brad was on camera in round 2 or whatever, it feels like forever ago, when he played a very similar matchup, he did have Sin Collector in his deck post-board. And, I mean, post-board, the aggressive deck does go up to like close to 15 instants and sorceries, which is, that's pushing the number where you're like, all right, Sin Collector is starting to be, a legitimate thing. The 2/1 body is not great, but nothing to scoff at. And the information that it gives you on like what you need to save your Tragic Slip for, how you need to block, etc. That type of thing is far more valuable to Brad than any random, Searing Spear might be.
You can just craft a game plan around the information that you have, assuming that you have the actual time to craft a game plan. One thing that's going to let you do is actually know if you need to speed up or slow down.
Exactly, and know whether you need to, play around the Rampager or whether you can block straight up. Those types of things are actually really, really important. So the information the Sin Collector gives you can be invaluable at times, but it is kind of a, mopey 3-drop. It's not super high impact. So
it's 2-1 against this deck of Strangleroot Geist, Voice of Resurgence, Smiter, Boros Reckoner. Yeah, not so much.
Yeah,
not the best card.
Great. I mean, it can definitely be okay in situations where like you traded your Doom Traveler for the front of his Strangleroot Geist, and then Sin Collector's there to hit the back wall, getting you information and tagging the spear. But in general, a 2-1 body is not going to impact the board too much.
Yeah, the Naya creatures are much too good, and we see that with Joe Panaccio's match as well, as he does win 2-1 over Eric Heimel playing Jund. We thought that the creatures that Joe has in his deck, again, your Voice of Resurgence, your Strangleroot Geist, Experiment 1, even to a lesser extent, being difficult to deal with, would be a little bit trouble for the Jund deck. And so Panaccio is able to win and move on. He does win the match, 2-0, not 2-1. So
I got that one wrong.
Sliced him and diced him.
I got that one real wrong.
And apparently I'm being told that he killed him on turn 5 both times.
Well,
so.
I figured that Joe was going to win game 1 like a good percentage of the time, like close to 80% of the time. But I thought that post-board, the Jund deck had a lot more hope, but apparently he died on turn 5. So
how about that?
Yeah, a funny thing.
So Panaccio, again, the player who did play on the World Magic Cup team last year for the U.S., was part of the Bonfire Jiv. If you did get to see it, and if you haven't, you should take a look at it after this round is over.
It's pretty fantastic.
But he'll be playing tomorrow morning with us, so congratulations to him. As when we do have more results from our other matches, our Joe Taft versus John Spires match, Bugwalkers versus Naya, we will have an update there, as well as Ted Felicietti versus Jeremy Sunnell, Junk Reanimator versus Black Red Zombies. We will certainly give you an update to that as well. But we stick here with you guys. Nelson up a game over Nguyen. Junk Aristocrats versus Naya Aggro. 3 Naya Aggro decks in top 8 this weekend.
Jeremy won.
Oh, wow. That was quick. Thank you. I didn't even see that. Jeremy Sunnell does win 2-1 over Ted Felicity. So that means that Zombies is moving on.
I got that one wrong, too. I'm 0 for 2 today.
You should try to keep calling him. It's really entertaining.
Hey, last time we commentated together, I got like 1 wrong in the 2 days.
Yeah, nobody remembers that.
Yeah, but what have you done for me lately?
Yeah.
Looks like Richard Nguyen is mulliganing, Brad keeping his hand.
And I think, at any point you're, reasonably happy when your opponent's taking a mulligan, but I think, especially when you're playing against, like, Richard Nguyen's deck from Brad's deck, where Brad's deck needs the time to actually set up. That's how he won the last game, with that Varls and the Doom Traveler and the Township activations. With how aggressive Nguyen's deck is and how big the creatures are, you would like them to kind of fumble around a little bit so you can just take your time and get established. Because once Brad actually does get established, I don't think he can lose. It's just Nguyen's job to make sure that he breaks up his pieces so he can't ever get his footing.
Yeah, which actually reminds me of a key turn in game 1. Remember the Searing Spear on the Volraz instead of the Rampager that Richard Nguyen chose to do? I mean, thinking back on it, I'm pretty sure the Searing Spear wins.
Yeah, if that Varls is gone, we're looking at a wildly different game. He's got a Doom Traveler.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Richard Nguyen doesn't know that Brad's hand is just completely empty, but it pretty much was.
Yeah.
And that definitely would have won him the game. And instead, the Golgari Maze Runner was able to completely stabilize and turn the corner quite hard and win the game for Brad.
I think the thing that's important, too, is when you're looking at Varls, you have to understand that that's like kind of a card that you just have to get off of the table before it starts generating an advantage. You just can't allow it to do that and just be there and be in the way, as we have another update here. So I'm not too surprised that these matches are going quickly, but I didn't think they were going to go this fast.
Yeah,
I thought we were going to get to move our backup match. But John Spires with Naya defeats Jake Taft in his Bug Walker deck. So that means we have 2 Naya decks.
All right, I got 1 right.
Congratulations to you. Very proud of you, Mr. Soccer. So Aaron Barrett, if you're walking at home, you did it, brother. You may have cracked it for a week or two.
You broke it.
You may have cracked it for a week or two here.
Move over, Tamahara Saito.
Yeah.
Your Burning Tree Emissaries are no good here.
Absolutely. Everyone was kind of judgmental about him playing a red-green deck and not having any Burning Tree Emissaries in his deck.
Well, it seems crazy.
I mean, myself included.
Yeah.
And, don't need no stinking emissaries here. Strangleroot Geist is back and with a vengeance, it looks like.
As if, like, a top 8 and a win wasn't, in back-to-back days wasn't enough.
Yeah.
And then he just, like, his deck completely dominated the top tables of this entire tournament. There's already 2 into the top 4, and 1 still playing for it.
Yeah, and Richard Nguyen right here going to play Temple Garden on tap. He's on a mulligan to 6. He did not look thrilled about his mulligan to 6, and he's going to start with a Dryad Militant, which is a card I do not like having in.
I was going to say, that is a card I would certainly board out. It matches up so poorly against say, for example, this is just something off the top of my head. Maybe Doom Traveler.
Yeah, trying to.
Look! Look! It's not,
I mean, every way that it lines
funny.
up in this matchup is just nothing favors Dried Militant in this matchup.
Yeah.
So I'm very surprised to see this in his deck after sideboard because this thing can't get through almost anything.
I mean, its only quote utility is against Lingering Souls itself. It removes the backside, but the value it gets from trading straight up with 1/2 of the front side doesn't even really make up for that, and that's such a corner case scenario too.
There's another Dried Militant in his hand.
Like here, what are you gonna do? Not attack with the Dryad?
Yeah. I mean, this is what Brad wants, right? Like, you played first of all, you played your land untapped in Temple Garden, take 2. Move down to 18 to play your 1-drop. And then you play your 1-drop, and it does actual nothing.
Yeah.
It cannot attack. And so now, he's like, am I going to attack with both of my guys? Like, I have to attack with the string root guys. And I don't think Brad can actually trade fast enough.
Yeah. That's the fastest block in the history.
Yeah. And that literally illustrates the point better than like any words possibly could. When you see the trade actually happen, you just go, "What is that card doing?" Yeah, what is that card doing? I get a 1/1 for free that actually gets to trade like with a half of your Strangle Root guys too. Doom Traveler's never been so good, and it's actually so good it gets to attack right now for one
because he's got a backup.
He's got a buddy.
And another card we actually do see in the Brad Nelson grip. That's Sin Collector.
Yeah.
And it looks like it might be coming down next turn. So
you see Searing Spear the draw here for a win. And I think Nguyen is realizing like right now as he has another Dried Militant in his hand. I mean, that's like a virtual mulligan to 4.
Yeah. Yeah, those cards are worthless.
So now he's going to play another one of these. You see Nguyen with a bit of a snicker here. I think he realizes it too. Thinking to himself, why on earth did I leave these in? Just go. Please just go.
I love Rich. He's so funny. Just his reaction there was just perfect. He's just like, yup, these are pretty bad.
Nelson going to come across for 1 in the air to start his turn with that Spirit token. Going to knock Nguyen down to 16. We'll move to a second main phase, see how he wants to make his turn.
Like this is a High Priest.
That is a High Priest. Oof. This is a Temple Garden. He's going to pass the turn back here. Nguyen going to take an untap. Let's see what he draws for this turn. He has a Loxodon Smiter, does not have the 3rd land. Why do I think this is a Bonfire of the Damned? Okay, it's a Stomping Ground. All right, so at least he can cast the spells. He has access, to Searing Spear and that Loxodon Smiter now, so that's pretty important.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's bad enough that, your turns 1 and 3 plays were, Dried Militants, but Brad is just getting way too much time. You got to get a clock down. You got to play that Smiter. You got to put some sort of pressure on the board.
I mean, you don't want to let him get set up, but at the same time, like, you need to spear that High Priest before it gets out of control. Because if he just plays the Loxodon Smiter this turn, and then Brad, I don't know, like, has a Cartel Aristocrat activate. I mean, we've seen Brad do that before.
Yeah.
Play Cartel Aristocrat, sacrifice the Doom Traveler, get your Spirit, activate the High Priest, get your 5/5 Demon. Nguyen's deck can't beat a 5/5 Demon.
Absolutely
That's just not something that can happen.
Yeah, and actually, kind of funny, it's not a Cartel Aristocrat, but a Sin Collector. If you were to play the Loxodon Smiter here, then the Sin Collector comes down and takes the Spear, and then the High Priest gets to do whatever it wants forever.
Yeah. And so, I mean, if you're Nguyen right now, I think you almost have to Searing Spear that High Priest.
Yeah.
And if you're Nelson, I don't even think you mind.
Yeah.
That's like the scary thing, right? Where it's like, yeah, I mean, it's dead. I basically put a card on the table that like forces you to have your answer. And if you do have your answer, it's like, all right, I get to just keep playing Magic. And if you don't, you're just dead immediately.
Yeah, which is exactly that card's role in all of these Aristocrats decks. And it looks like this is a Spear. I mean, he's got to do what he's got to do, And
is he going to attack this turn? Because we didn't see him attack last turn. I think if you're Nguyen, you have to push through these things.
Yeah, like, it's like you just got to, close your eyes,
yeah,
grit your teeth.
Yeah, they're not. That Doom Traveler ain't going anywhere.
Yeah.
They don't want to. But I gotta. And here comes the String guys. They had Brad blocks immediately.
Yeah.
So,
again, super easy block.
Yeah. So Geist is going to become a 3/2. Doom Traveler's going to put his Spirit token into play. Nelson going to take his turn. There's Blood Artist for the turn. There's a Gavany Township. He's tapping his mana very quickly.
Collect the Sins.
Yep. And he's not going to find too much action over there. He's going to see a Smiter and Unflinching Courage. You can't have these.
Well, that is, an Unflinching Courage. That is a way out.
Yes.
If Brad doesn't have an answer, which we know that he doesn't really, that is theoretically a way to get him back in this game. Sadly, like even a land to activate that township is enough of an answer to the Unflinching Courage. I mean, Brad's life total is so high, plus he's got access to the Blood Artist. I think that Richard Nguyen is getting to the point where he's like Miracle Bonfire or bust.
Yeah, that's the same thing I was thinking too. Is that it's about bonfire o'clock,
Yeah.
where Nguyen can play a smiter.
Your favorite time of day.
It actually is my favorite time of day. Where Nguyen can actually like play a smiter, then Unflinching Courage it, and then hope to peel a bonfire and clear the way, and then just go from there. Hope Nelson doesn't find a tragic slip in those couple of turns and get the job done.
Absolutely, and I mean he does go up to 4 bonfires post board, so that is definitely what he's drawing to, and it is, if it happens, then you know the tides turn quite quickly. And here he actually found an attack, but Brad found some blocks.
Yeah, he did. You see Nelson going to put the Sin Collector in front of the 3-2. And, you know, Nelson's thought basically right now is, you know, he saw his hand, so he knows about the Unflinching Courage and the Smiter. Nguyen's making an attack that basically says, I'm representing Gorklan Rampager, and Brad's putting him to the test, basically saying, you have to have it for me to care.
Yeah, I just saw your hand, so,
yeah.
I mean, you got one card. And now that the Militant is off the table, the Lingering Souls is fully active. He's got a Cartel Aristocrat and a Blood Artist, and is that another Lingering Souls or a Doom Traveler? He's got another spell there. I mean, any spell he draws is sweet. Ooh, a Ferals, that's also quite good.
Yeah, any spell, yeah, as you said, any spell he draws is sweet, and any land he draws is sweet.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And so there's your 3-3. But Smiter's looking to get suited up here. You see Nelson going to come across the Spirit Token. No reason not to, as he can't double block. So Nguyen is going to have the opportunity to make this elephant a little bit bigger, a little bit badder, and gain some life.
Which is exactly what we were saying. I mean, you know, can an elephant wear armadillo?
It can wear a cloak.
Okay.
It can also have a lot of courage.
Yeah. If you like lunged at it, would it like freak out?
No, it's very courageous.
He doesn't flinch?
No.
Okay.
Oh, that was a joke you were making. Oh, I see. I should have played into it better so that it was funny.
You know, if I had a good co-caster, then maybe I'll get Rich Hagon in here.
So Brad is going to take a block. He's going to block and regenerate. So you're going to see 3 come there and then 3 trample across. So Nguyen is going to gain 6 life. I'm a little surprised by that block, I think. Maybe I shouldn't be.
It's not like you need the creature to stabilize with the township because you have so many Lingering Souls. If you draw the land for the township, then you get to go souls up, flash it back, and then immediately the next turn township.
Okay.
You don't need that one guy. You might as well save 3 life while you can, because you're gonna have plenty of guys to use to save 3 life at a time, right? The question is whether you can actually trade with or deal with the Smiter somehow. And he goes like Lingering Souls. Yeah, I mean, he's got up to 4.
Yeah, he's got 6 power in play now.
I was gonna say to Lingering Souls, soak up 3 more, and then the next turn look to scavenge the
Sin Collector.
The Sin Collector, sure. And then you still have the backup spirit from the Lingering Souls the turn previous. So Brad's definitely sculpting something. He's trying to get something together here.
Here he comes again. So now if you're Nelson, you have to be a little bit scared.
Well, you soak up 4 and
okay, so he's gonna make the same play.
The Sin Collector line. I like this line. I mean, it seems like the most efficient way to deal with that thing, because after it's all said and done, you're still left with a 6/6.
Here's a Boros Reckoner post-combat for Nguyen. He's going to pass the turn back. Nelson going to draw a card. He finds an Isolated Chapel, so that's land number 5.
That is absolutely huge. Here he can go like Blood Artist, Scavenge, or Cartel Aristocrat, Scavenge, or even just Flashback Souls. I mean, not only the 5th land, but the black land that he doesn't even have to pay life for.
Yeah.
Oh, really opens a lot of doors for Brad. He has a ton of options now. I'm really interested to see how he plays this. Does he stick to the Sin Collector line that he obviously created in his head? Or is that line not worth it now that he has the land? Does he have better options available to him? Looks like he is going for the Sin Collector line, and I like it. I mean, I think that having the 6/6 Regenerator is just, you know, the most efficient way to answer the Unflinching Courage.
And there's your Blood Artist too.
Yep.
So I think this is what we thought we were going to see.
Yes, I love this line.
Blood Artist is online now. We'll see what Nguyen can draw for his turn. And this is you see the power of Varls right now. This is exactly what this card's all about. As Nguyen's going to draw a card. It's a Strangleroot Geist, and his creatures very quickly, the ones that he can draw, are getting like they're every creature that he draws is getting worse and worse as the game goes, because Varl's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and then like the Lingering Souls are going to gum up the board, and the Township is going to take over. So as we said at the top, this is not a matchup where Richard Nguyen is suited to play a longer game.
Yeah,
he needs to
get
get
Nelson
down.
down.
Yeah, he needs to get Nelson down.
And it's actually past the point where even Bonfire helps him, because the Varl's is just way too huge, and you know, he's just not going to be able to produce enough damage to sort of break through the Blood Artist life gain wall, you know. And Reckoner attacking doesn't even do it because of the Sacrifice outlet plus the Blood Artist drain. I mean, this is the exact game state that Brad would have drawn up, you know. He didn't even need the removal spell for the Unflinching Courage.
He's made a Varro's big and just battled through it.
Yep.
You see Reckoner come across there. Brad blocks the Spirit Token, sacrifices it. Blood Artist drain. No damage from the Reckoner. Brad gains a life, drains a life. Yes, Richard wins at 24, but, I mean, Brad just wants to stabilize this game and get it to a point where Richard can't attack, and you actually see that happen. As you're going to see Strangleroot evolve that Experiment 1, but you see Brad get Nguyen into a game state where he actually just can't attack with the 6/6 Trampling Lifelinker, which is all he wanted to accomplish in the first place.
Yeah. It is definitely definitely a favorable game state for Brad. The question is what Richard can do at this point to sort of get back into it. I mean, I think he just has to continue to develop his board as best he can and Miracle a Timely Bonfire to sort of wipe the blockers for that turn, put a lot of damage on the barrels, and hope that it's enough to push through that turn. The problem with that is, of course, the life gain from the Blood Artist, making that quickly fall out of reach.
Nelson going to cast some spells here. So he's going to play a Lingering Souls from his hand. He's going to play Cartel Aristocrat. He's going to do exactly what he's wanted to do from the start. Gum up the board. Make things very difficult for Nguyen to make any good attacks. Again, Nguyen at some point here wanted to Miracle a Bonfire, but even now, Miracling Bonfire, where it was very good about 3 turns ago, it's gotten substantially worse again. And it looks like...
Yeah, the Aristocrat makes it like even worse. Not to mention that the second Lingering Souls from the hand means that Brad has access to 4 more flyers from the graveyard, which then he still has the Township in play. It's a pretty tough spot.
You know, Nguyen made that look like it was a Bonfire of the Damned, and even if it was a Miracle Bonfire of the Damned for 2, I mean, hypothetical situation, how good is it even right now? It like takes care of the Spirit Tokens, but you know, Brad sacks one of them to Cartel Aristocrat. You know, the Blood Art's going to bite the dust. Maybe he sacrifices, you know, the other Spirit Token, gets his drains. You know, we see a 3-point life shift, and then he has 2 creatures just standing tall.
Yeah. I mean, the playing to Bonfire phase of the game has passed. Richard now has to develop basically an unbeatable board, kill the Blood Artist, and still Miracle the Bonfire after all that setup. That's how bad of a situation he is in right now.
So here's another Boros Reckoner, it looks like. And that's what that's going to be. So there's your Minotaur Wizard. There's your evolution of Experiment 1. It's going to become a 3/3. And we do know that his last card in his hand is a Sacred Founder, so we'll see if he wants to play that and expose that. So if he draws a Bonfire of the Damned, it's for that much more, or what he wants to do. But you see him reaching towards that 6/6 now. And I mean, the shields are down here, so you know, Nelson is working with perfect information of how he should block if Nguyen's going to send him in. That's why I don't like playing that Boros Reckoner pre.
Well, I think he's going to try and send the Experiment, but I think that if you're going to do this attack, then you just wait 1 more turn so that Reckoner can attack also, and so that you have all your mana untapped and a card in hand that you could cast. At least make it a little hard on Brad. You know, this is way too easy.
These blocks just allow him to do whatever he wants. He can sculpt everything he wants to now because he knows that, you know, he can probably deduce that Nguyen's last card is pretty irrelevant. Now, and so now you're going to see Experiment 1 come across in the rest of the gang, but I mean, Brad gets to decide how he wants to clear up combat here. You know, how much damage do I want to take? What do I want to do with this stuff?
Brad's been creating this block in his head for the past 3 turns, just waiting for the desperation attack. He knows exactly how he's going to put the pieces together, and sure enough, it's just like double chumps with the Spirits, which then get sacrificed to regenerate the Virals, which is the 6/6 fighting a 6/6, and give the Cartel Aristocrat protection from green, which is on the Strangleroot Geist, both drain from the Blood Artist. The Strangleroot Geist and the Loxodon are also going to be drains from the Blood Artist, just figuring out all of the technical triggers here. But at the end of it, basically, Richard Nguyen's board is going to be significantly worse, and Brad is down 2 Spirits.
And that Loxodon Spire, it's going to gain some life, but that should hit the bend now. You know, you're going to see an Undying counter get put onto the Strangleroot Geist. And yeah, as you said, after all said and done, because that Smiter should bite the dust. I mean, 6/6. I think Brad's pointing and saying, yeah, that's dead too.
Yeah.
That's what Varls is there for. As you said, dust cleared. Nelson at a pretty nice life total here because of Blood Artist.
Yep.
And as you said, yeah, Nguyen's board gets a little bit decimated here. And yeah, that block may have been difficult for some people. But as you said, Brad was kind of creating the situation in his head the entire time.
He had been just waiting.
And so, I mean, he blocked almost immediately.
Yeah.
Like, he knew exactly what he wanted to do.
Brad is a tanker, too.
Yeah.
He likes to take his time on those things, but that was, like, the fastest I've ever seen him block. He knew exactly what was up.
And so now he draws the 7th land. He puts that Woodland Cemetery into play untapped. Now he's able to flashback Lingering Souls and have Gavin Township activations. And this is exactly what we saw in Game 1 and other matches with Brad this weekend, where Township activations, when you actually get Township online with, like, these doofuses in play and, like, a green mirror, there's, like, no coming back.
Yeah, you have to wonder why Richard Nguyen's trainer hasn't thrown in the towel yet. I mean, does he want him to get hurt? I mean, does he not care about his career? These are the questions you have to ask, Cedric.
Yeah, it's the one thing that people kind of forget about because we don't see the card as much anymore is just like there was in some durations of its lifespan where Gathering Township was the best of those lands.
Yeah.
And it just dominated games by itself. It was like, oh, you drew a Gathering Township? Okay, I can't win. We see it with Malaria Pod in Modern.
Yeah.
We see that land in Modern have like a huge impact, and now again you're seeing in Standard with this deck where it's gumming up the board, it's making things very, very difficult, and then it just lets you shift the game to actually kill your opponent.
Yeah, it helps you stabilize and then very resiliently turn the corner. Like, it's good against Wrath because you only have to play with 1 or 2 guys, and then the Township will blow it up. And it's super good in the creature mirrors as well as just in like token strategies as we see here. The deck or the card is super good. I mean, I wouldn't say that it's clearly better than Grim Backwoods, say. I would say it's close.
I don't want to say anything ridiculous.
Right.
You see Nelson making some blocks here. You're going to get a Township activation. So Aristocrat's going to move up to a 3/3. Varro's up to a 7/7.
This is how confident Brad is with this game state. He's just eating Boros Reckoners. He's just like, yeah, I'll take like 9 to the nugget, like whatever.
Yeah, if that's not a good feeling, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
How much that Boros Reckoner deal me? Oh, it's not lethal? Okay, I don't care.
Yeah, I'll take 9 or whatever and then go back up to 10 from the Blood Artist triggers. It's just...
If anything goes wrong, he can just like sacrifice all his creatures. And
just, gotta pump that Blood Artist.
Well, Blood Artist is gonna get a little frisky next turn, I think. I don't get to see that one very often.
Yeah, that guy doesn't get in the red zone too much.
So we're gonna see, a lot of things here. I mean, maybe Nguyen has like a Gore Clan Rampage or something. He's kind of pointing around, reaching for some mana, maybe like a Searing Spear type card. Not really sure, but I mean, the things that he can draw here are pretty limited.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Not even sure what this could be. I mean, how sad is it that like you have these 2 giant Reckoner triggers and one of them probably has to just kill the Blood Artist?
Yeah. Blood Art is such an interesting card because it's like this 0/1 that's basically an enchantment that dies a creature removal. It's like, it's just not any fun to play against, and it just creates like pure havoc on the board. And you have to kill it in a lot of game states, and it's just so innocuous when the opponent goes like Doom Traveler, Blood Artist. Those are my first 2 turns. And it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, this is like the worst limited deck I've ever seen in my life. Yeah, well, actually, I mean that is the thing. Like when Blood Artist was first coming out in the zombie decks, people were like, Blood Artist, it's so bad. How could people play it? And all I could say was like, have you ever played against Falconwrath Noble in limited?
Yeah.
Like, you just can't beat it ever. So why can't that be a thing for half the mana?
Yeah. So now we're gonna see, damage is gonna resolve here. You're gonna get some Boros Reckoner's triggers take place. We'll see where all this damage is gonna go. Brad's gonna say, okay, you put those over there, and then you decide where you want those Boros Reckoner triggers to go. I don't want to see those moo cows on the battlefield anymore. So yeah, he said, looks like he does have to shoot the artiste.
And then taking 7 to the dome, down to 10, back up to 13 from the 2 triggers from the Reckoners and the Blood Artist itself.
Yeah, I think that's correct.
13 is a lot of life.
Dad, you're not wrong.
And Brad's actually just like lethal in 2 or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, he's got a scavenge dude in the form of High Priest and Lingering Souls and Township. So he just goes like Lingering Souls, Township, and then the next turn Township again and +1. I think that's lethal.
So yeah,
he can also scavenge his Blood Artist,
sure.
But that's ill-advised.
Is that not a good play? And Nguyen has a Gore-Clad Rampage just passes the turn back. And the reason you didn't see him Blood Rush that is because I don't think a Blood Rush like was good anywhere.
Yeah, he didn't even have any good Blood Rushes. That is a dominating game state.
Yeah.
That is a game state of true favor. Like when you have the best combat trick in your deck, like in the format, and you just don't even have a good place to put it because his blocks are so good.
So Flashback and Lingering Souls is how Nelson's going to start his turn. 2 Spirit Tokens coming.
And here we go. I have to assume at least the Valraz is attacking. I would not be surprised if the Aristocrat got in as well.
Because he can make it a 4/4.
Yeah.
Yep, here they come.
Brad knows how to turn a corner. He does not want to, have some like weird, voice into double running bonfire or whatever, steal the game from him.
Yeah, you just want to get the game over with. And if you see Nguyen reaching like a Rampager, like feel free.
Yeah.
Wherever you want to go is what
you can
Nelson's
soak
probably
up
thinking
7,
here.
or you can soak up 4 and trade with a Spirit.
Yeah.
Those are your options.
If that Rampage is blocking, and if that Rampage is blocking, that's not where you want to be as an aggro deck. Like, kind of overall, but certainly not in this matchup.
Yeah.
You do not want to be on blocking duty.
Absolutely. I mean, that was the key the whole time was the Naya deck needs to be the beatdown, and it needs to get into that position very quickly, very early. You got to keep the Aristocrats' decks on the back foot. If you give them a turn off, they will punish you.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So it's way over lethal. I don't know why I was thinking maybe it was close.
Yeah. So 12 damage is going to put him down to 8. And then I think, can he get through for a lethal next turn? We see 2, 4. Yeah, he can actually get it for lethal next turn by giving Cartel Aristocrat protection from green. It's actually sacrificing, the creature that did like all the work in the game in Burrows, and actually get in for, some flying damage and the protection from green. Will actually get him through, depending on what this card is. He's tapping 3 mana. So that's okay. It's a Reckoner, so he would need another creature. Yeah. So now
not that he needs the creature.
Yeah, now going to quickly untap and draw up. Mana flooded.
Oh, that's so unlucky.
So he's got to pump up the jam real fast here.
Need another die for that Valraz getting too big.
Oh, easy. I think, yeah, he was going to sacrifice the name Red. And he slowed down very quickly.
Is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? It's lethal with the Scavenge.
Does he have a Scavenge in his graveyard?
Yeah, he has a High Priest from way earlier. There it is.
Sees it.
Brad doesn't miss these lines with these decks.
Sacrifice this, 6.
Give it pro something.
Yep,
give it pro something else.
This, yeah.
Exactsies.
Yeah. I mean, Player of the Year for a reason.
Yeah. I mean, and Aristocrats Master for a reason. Right? Like all these interactions he's been playing with for months now.
Brad Nelson, 2-0. Check Aristocrats. He's moving on tomorrow morning. Takes down Richard Nguyen. And Richard, who had a fantastic tournament, was our 3 seed coming in. Went 8-0-2, double draw. Winner.